Start.
Good afternoon, everyone. And on behalf of AARP, I'd like to welcome you to Juneteenth, Uniting Generations and Inspiring Action. My name is Dan Azar, and I'm an AARP volunteer and today's moderator. I would like to first extend some sincere thank yous to all the folks who supported and assisted in bringing this program to you. AARP volunteer Greg Howell, AARP Communications Director Steve Hahn, our tech specialists Marie Dillon and Connie Moore, our AARP regional directors Rosalie Calarco from the coastal region, and especially Rebecca Chaplin from the mountain region for all of their efforts in helping to create, plan, and facilitate this program. Juneteenth became a national holiday due to the dedicated efforts of the former teacher and lifelong activist, Opal Lee, known as the grandmother of Juneteenth. Opal made the famous trek from Fort Worth, Texas to Washington, D.C. at the age of 89 to deliver a petition with 1.5 million signatures to ensure that Congress made Juneteenth a national holiday. This year on May 3rd, Opal Lee, now age 97, received the Presidential Medal of Freedom for recognition for her decades-long pursuit. Our vision today is to illuminate the complicated and overlooked history and heritage of the fight for African American freedom, and to recognize the individuals who are still working to support equality and justice for all. A little bit of housekeeping for today. Please communicate and greet each other in the chat. You can put in where you're from. It'd be very interesting to see that. And type questions that you will have for Ann Miller-Woodford in the Q&A, which she will answer later in the program. It is now my privilege to introduce to you my friend, Ann Miller-Woodford. It was actually AARP that brought Ann and me together. I was fortunate to first meet Ann for the AARP Zoom book club that featured her book, When All God's Children Get Together, a celebration of the lives and music of African Americans in far Western North Carolina. To reveal Black history of this area, Ann researched and documented the lives of those seemingly invisible people for her book, which vividly bears witness to the presence and significance of this Black community. Ann is a visual artist, designer, author, and entrepreneur who has dedicated her life to painting and drawing the spirit that she treasures around her. Ann says, "No matter what I am doing, my work is created through the lens of my spirit as an artist. I am motivated by people, animals, clouds, trees, rocks. Inspiration never stops. And I will tell you, neither does Ann." Ann holds a BA degree in fine arts from Ohio University and built a career in business and art in Los Angeles. Upon returning to Andrews, North Carolina, she founded One Dozen Who Care, the area's first nonprofit organized by Black women. This organization's goal was and is still to improve the understanding between the races, religions, youth, and adults. Ann's Tree Studio is where she creates all of her artwork. Her new series, Black, in Black, on Black, Making the Invisible Visible, is about emerging from darkness through the amalgamation of all colors, Black. Ann was the recipient of the 2019 Mountain Heritage Award for Individual of the Year. She was the recipient of the 2020 Outstanding Achievement Award for the Western North Carolina Historical Society. She is a member of both the Portrait Society of America and Oil Painters of America. Ann is a true humanitarian who continues to create and share African American heritage presentations intended to uplift and inspire. Her design for this program includes a presentation of the historical meaning of Juneteenth with a focus on the inspiration for the future through multi-generational reflections on freedom, diversity, and inclusion. Through their self-created videos, you will have the experience of hearing the personal responses of individuals willing to share their thoughts and hearts with you today. Now you'll have the pleasure of meeting the artist and visionary, Ann Miller Woodford.
Thank you so much, my dear friend Dana. It's great to be with you today. I'm delighted that all of you have joined us for this Western North Carolina AARP Juneteenth celebration 2024. It's a meaningful event that unites generations and inspires action. Your presence and participation are vital to the success of this important commemoration. The AARP, formerly the American Association of Retired Persons, is excited to announce its 2024 Juneteenth celebration. This significant event, held under the theme Uniting Generations, Inspiring Action, is a powerful commemoration of the end of slavery in the United States. It also serves as a vibrant celebration of African American culture, history, and the invaluable contributions of the Black community to our society. As a valued member of our national community, your role as attendees in fostering intergenerational dialogue is not just important, it's crucial. Your participation creates a deeper understanding and a respect for the experiences and wisdom of our elders, while empowering the youth to take up the mantle of leadership and continue the push for social justice. Today, on June 19th, 2024, we mark Juneteenth, a momentous day in American history. June 19th has also been known as Emancipation Day or Jubilee Day. It signifies the day the last African American enslaved people in Texas were informed of their freedom. This monumental event paved the way for the abolition of slavery across the United States. 6 months later, when the 13th Amendment to the Constitution was ratified, President Joseph R. Biden Jr. signed into law the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act S. 475 on June 18, 2021. That created a federal holiday that commemorates Juneteenth. In his inspiring remarks when signing the proclamation, he stated, "On Juneteenth, we recommit ourselves to the work of equity, equality, and justice, and we celebrate the centuries of struggle, courage, and hope that have brought us to this time of progress and possibility." That work has been led throughout our history by abolitionists and educators, civil rights advocates and lawyers, courageous activists and trade unionists, public officials, and everyday Americans who have helped make real the ideals of our founding documents for all. And we thank President Biden. Thanks so much to everyone who has tuned in to understand and celebrate this day and its significance to the United States of America. My deepest appreciation goes to those who shared their thoughts about this special day in our country. Patricia Hall is an occupational therapist and a founding member and current president of One Dozen Who Care Incorporated, a nonprofit organization founded by Black women and based in Andrews, North Carolina. The organization empowers, educates, and encourages economic development for women, youth, and elders in far western North Carolina to bridge cultures and create community bonds. The organization was established by a group of African American women who saw an opportunity to add their work to community where Black population is minuscule. Though she has since relocated back to her family home in Texas, Patricia is known for having organized the first Juneteenth celebration in Andrews in 1996. Planting seeds on her family land is Patricia's passion. She smiles as she said, I hope that one day I will have a yard that can be featured in Better Homes and Gardens magazine. Patricia is a proud member of AARP.
Hello, my name is Patricia Hall. I grew up in a farm in Simonton, Texas, which is west of Houston. My family has always celebrated Juneteenth. Whenever it fell on a weekend, my dad and two of his brothers, collectively known as the Bill brothers, would barbecue and invite family and friends over. We would have a variety of meats: beef, pork, chicken, sausage, and whatever wild game was in the deep freeze. Friends would come over and they would bring their best dish to share in the meal. And then at night, the elders would tell stories of the hardship they had been through and how they had overcome it with God's help. They gave God the glory and thanked God for answering their ancestors' prayers of that one day their children would no longer suffer under slavery. When I grew up, almost all the Black homes in the community had a picture of President Lincoln, President Kennedy, and Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King hanging on their walls. These leaders were honored for being killed for their belief in equality for all. When we moved to North Carolina, most of the people there had never heard of Juneteenth. My sister Kim, her husband Daryl, and I decided we would continue to celebrate Juneteenth and let the people know what Juneteenth was all about. We started celebrating Juneteenth there and invited everyone we knew to come. Everyone was welcome, even strangers. They didn't have to know each other. So many times when there is a holiday, many people see them as just a paid day off, not thinking about the reason or the meaning behind the holiday. I hope that Juneteenth doesn't become just a day off with pay, but that people will remember the past and how evil slavery can be. That we continue to work towards ending slavery of any kind in the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia. Using their colorful way with the English language, the formerly enslaved people created the portmanteau Juneteenth by blending June and 19th. This term marks the day, June 19th, 1865, when federal troops arrived in Galveston, Texas, to take control of the state and ensure that 250,000 enslaved people would finally be free. As the oldest known African American holiday, Juneteenth has been celebrated in Texas and the United States since 1866. Initially, the annual celebration was called Jubilee Day. About 100 years later, in 1979, Texas officially recognized Juneteenth. Sean Hardman is an amazing 14-year-old homeschooled youth who lives in Cherokee County, North Carolina. He loves learning. Sean is a musician with the Brasstown Morris Band and the Junior Appalachian Musicians known as JAM, and a member of the immensely popular John C. Campbell Folk School Cloggers.
Hi, my name is Sean Hardman, and I think it's important to reflect on the values of Juneteenth because that is our history. And Juneteenth is a celebration of the day when the Emancipation Proclamation was put into place to free the enslaved. And it's very important to reflect on that because not only to maybe show how far we have come, but to also show that there is still so much work to be done to get closer to a real free America, and America people like Langston Hughes wanted. and 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 without Black history, there is no American history, because it is our history. We all share this history, no matter if you're Black or you're white or you're Hispanic. It is the history we should all celebrate, and I think it is really important because it maybe it shows a bit of an empty promise we showed that day, because yet we are still here dealing with the same issues. It might not be slavery, but it is other things that is could be more discriminating than even slavery itself. And this is why I think it is important to reflect on the values of Juneteenth.
I appreciate the thoughts of this precious young man, Sean Hardman. The Juneteenth holiday was first observed in Texas after the Civil War, which went on from April 1861 to April 9th, 1865. On June 19th, 1865, nearly 2 years after President Abraham Lincoln's 1863 Emancipation Proclamation, the enslaved individuals in Texas learned they were free. The proclamation declared that all persons held as slaves in the rebelling Confederate states are and henceforward shall be free. Mary Sue Casey is a member of Liberty Baptist Church in Sylvan, North Carolina. She has served as the Christian Education Director for Liberty Church and the Waynesville Missionary Baptist Association of Western North Carolina for many years. Mary Sue is a retired, award-winning high school math teacher who, acting as coach, led her high school cheerleading teams to victories in the North Carolina 3A state championships. She serves on the One Dozen Who Care Inc. board and is a founding member of the NAACP of Jackson County. She's also a member of AARP.
June 19th, 1865, 2 years and 169 days after President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. Juneteenth was a happy day for the slaves in Texas. Psalms 107 declares the same happiness for the Israelites. Today, those of us who celebrate Juneteenth recall a painful past. The same was true for the Israelites. The Israelites suffered through wandering in the wilderness, hunger, thirst, sickness, and death, and all other things that comes from a stormy life. The psalmist began with a call of thanksgiving for our God, the deliverer. The Psalm's theme is God, the dependable love. The love of God is unchanging, unlimited, undeserving, and always available. So on Juneteenth, 2024, I will say, "Oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good, and all his mercies endureth." Okay.
Thank you so much, Mary Sue.
Let's see
We
how big.
cannot discuss African American history without addressing the race-based enslavement of Black people that began in 1619, when indentured servants were traded for goods and services in Hampton, Virginia. These individuals, along with millions of other Black people, were treated as commodities to be bought and sold for profit, creating wealth until 1863, when the Emancipation Proclamation declared them free. On April 9th, 1865, Confederate General Robert E. Lee surrendered to Union General Ulysses S. Grant at Appomattox Courthouse, Virginia, marking the end of the war between the North and the South. The proclamation supposedly granted the newly freed people personal and property rights, requiring slave masters to pay for their work. Unfortunately, their newfound freedom was overshadowed by racial hatred, resentment, poverty, sickness, and even death. However, these people did not relent, but continued to work toward a better life. Amara Leak is a 23-year-old Murphy, North Carolina, Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church member. She grew up in Texana in the traditional Black community of Murphy. Amara graduated with honors from Murphy High School, after which she received her Bachelor of Arts degree in clinical psychology from the University of North Carolina in Greensboro, with a minor in Spanish. She's now pursuing a doctoral degree in clinical psychology at Nova Southeastern University in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, with a simultaneous internship at a foster care agency in Broward County. This fall, she will take position at the Broward Health Medical Center.
My name is Amara Leak. I am a rising third year in the clinical psychology doctoral program at Nova Southeastern University in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I was contacted to give my thoughts on the importance of reflecting and understanding the value of Juneteenth. And I think when I think about Juneteenth, I like to reflect on what exactly Juneteenth is, which is, on June 19th, the last of the slaves in Texas, the last Confederate state, were made aware that they had been freed. And I think it's important to reflect and appreciate that and ask ourselves, so what are we doing with this freedom as Black Americans? I think that's the bigger question that I link to Juneteenth or to the emancipation of slavery in general. What are we doing with the freedom that we have been given as Black Americans? How are we helping our community become successful? How are we educating the youth on things that can improve their life? How are we educating young Black Americans on marriage and the importance of families staying together? So when I think about the importance and reflecting on the value of Juneteenth, I think it's important to understand that because I am no longer in slavery, because I do have this freedom, what are the things that I can do with it to make me successful as a Black American and educate other Black Americans so that we can have and lead successful and prosperous lives?
We appreciate you, Amara. Jackie Patterson was born in Cincinnati, Ohio, but grew up in many different places, including Texas, Indiana, and Washington. She graduated from Indiana University with a BA in Earth and Atmospheric Science. She now works as an editorial assistant for the USDA Forest Service Southern Research Station in Asheville and for the Ridgecrest Summer Staff Program. Her ultimate goal is to return to school and become an environmental lawyer, fighting for climate policies that will help sustain our future. Due to Jackie's heavy work commitments, she was unable to share a video that expressed her chosen title, Juneteenth, My Independence Day. Jackie says, Juneteenth might be new to some folks, but not for me. It's been a celebration since I was a kid. It's funny, Juneteenth makes me feel most American, like my melanin is sitting pretty with the red, white, and blue. On this day, I connect with my ancestors, their strength echoing in my bones. My life is their victory cry, a testament to their fight for freedom in a nation they built yet weren't embraced by. 2 whole years after their freedom was declared, enslaved people in Texas were still waiting on news. Imagine that, free but living enslaved. It's a reminder that freedom isn't always immediate, and the echoes of that struggle linger in our society today like a bad aftertaste we call the slave mentality. Juneteenth is a fire lit under me, a reminder to keep pushing for true freedom for myself and everyone around me. It's also a day to celebrate the progress we've made, every ancestor who fought, every life lost, every life lived got us here. They deserve to be remembered, and their fight continues to inspire me. Thank you very much, Jackie. My vision is to see young people gathered at the feet of their elders, listening to stories of how I got over and passing those legacies on to future generations. The elders can vividly illustrate how they forged a pathway to the benefits that young people enjoy today. How I got over, how I got over, oh my Lord. And my soul looks back and wonders how I got over. Well, I've been buked and I've been scorned and I've been talked about as sure as you're born. And my soul looks back and wonders how I got over. Jordan River was chilly and cold. It chills my body, but not my soul. And my soul looks back and wonders how I got over, how I got over, how I got over, oh my Lord. And my soul looks back and wonders how I got over. Dana?
And thank you
Thank you,
so
Dana.
much. Thank you. And I think I left out in your many talents and gifts to all of us that your voice, you express your enduring spirit through song.
Thank you.
We have designated this time, if anyone in the audience has any questions for Anne, she would be happy to answer for you. So let's see if we have any questions here. I looked at the chat, Anne, and there are people from all over: Ohio, Colorado, Virginia, California, Tampa, Florida, North Carolina, all different places. Let's
Thank
see.
you all.
So far, I don't see any questions in the chat, in the Q&A. Perhaps when we complete the rest of the program, which is coming up, some people will have questions and we can ask again if there are any questions. Okay. Our program
is going to tell us about Oh Freedom, how that came about.
Yes, our program will close with Oh Freedom, which is a traditional African American spiritual. Its exact origins are uncertain, but likely it emerged during the period of Black enslavement in the United States. Some sources suggest that it was composed around the mid-19th century, possibly during the Civil War in the years 1861 through 1865. However, because it was an oral tradition passed down through generations, it's challenging to pinpoint an exact date of composition. And now I'm delighted to invite Anne once again to inspire us with a song and her beautiful words.
Well, can you imagine the joy, fear, and trepidation as those newly freed must have felt as they sang Oh Freedom, a song that later became an anthem during the civil rights movement of the 1960s, inspiring African Americans to break the chains of racial discrimination while working alongside white, Jewish, and other allies for racial justice. The lyrics proclaim that it is better to die than to live as a slave. Oh, freedom, oh, freedom, oh, freedom over me, my Lord. And before I'll be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord and be free. With hope for a world of peace, justice, and freedom, we conclude with a cherished prayer from my childhood in the church. And when I have done all that's assigned my hands to do and can't do no more, please give me a peaceful and happy hour to die. Amen.
Amen, indeed, Anne. Thank you so very much. And I'd like to, on behalf of AARP, thank everyone who's been attending today for this Juneteenth program, Inspiring Generations, Uniting Generations, and Inspiring Action. Well, you have inspired generations, Anne. We request that you please complete the AARP survey that you will be receiving in the email. And once again, thank you so much for being with us today. Oops.
Thank you again.
Your singing was beautiful. Everything was wonderful.
Thank you so much. I have one more song.
I love it.
Remember me, remember me, oh Lord, remember me. Thank you all.